Good evening, everyone. What's going on? We are here with the Game Week 11 live Q&A. We are just under 24 hours away from the deadline for Game Week 11. So I thought, why not? Let's come on and let's have a live Q&A. I don't know why, for some reason, I misread my fixtures app last night. So I don't really know entirely what happened. So let you guys into what went on. So I was thinking of doing this tomorrow evening because I thought the first game was Saturday lunchtime, which was the Manchester derby. However, thanks to Linesh, I want to give him a shout out. He messaged me and said, no, it's actually tomorrow night. There's a game going on at 8 o'clock. I read the whole thing completely wrong, so I do apologise for that. So let's get into tonight. Let's go through some topics, some main things to consider, and what can be considered for Game Week 11. So first of all, we've got Genius Gamer. Hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're well and that you are ready for Game Week 11. So generally, what are the kind of main talking points for me? What am I looking forward to this game week? So there's a couple of fixtures at the moment that I am looking at, specifically targeting wise. I am hopeful Jamie Vardy can get a big haul against Leeds because defensively they have been quite, what's the right word to say? They've been quite, weak this season. Even last season, they were outscoring teams. So hopefully he can regain his form back. I'm banking on Wilson as a differential. Fingers crossed to get me a good return. And that can help my overall ranking. Last week wasn't a great week for me at all. It was the first time this season that I have been below the average point score. So the average was 42 and I got 36, which wasn't that ideal. But generally, we'll go through all topics, we'll go through some common questions, and we'll see what we have lined up for the weekend. So let's go through the fixtures first. Let's have a look over here. Right, so we have the fixtures on screen. Perfect. So we start off with Southampton, Aston Villa, Manchester United. Just gonna smaller out the screen here. Cool. It looks better now. So we've got Manchester United, Man City at lunchtime on Saturday. And then we've got Brentford Norwich, which I think will be a good game. Norwich, I think they're down this season. I know they've got some good fixtures coming up, however, not really necessary to target any of their players at the moment. Chelsea, Burnley. Chelsea's been really impressive. Aspilicueta has kind of been benched for the last couple of game weeks. So there are a few concerns around whether he's going to play, the rotation policy. So we'll have to watch out for Chelsea to see who they play. Lukaku, Werner are still probably considered not being available. Crystal Palace, Wolves, so I'm banking on Zaha to get me a few returns. Brighton, Newcastle, the tea time kickoff. Again, kind of hoping that obviously Wilson can get me a few returns there. And Sunday's quite a lot of football. So Arsenal, Watford, going to be a great game around 2 o'clock. Everton, Spurs, first game for Conte. I'll be interested to see how he lines up. This is just before Game Week 12, where their fixtures take a turn for the better. So you've got players like Kane, Son to target. But with Conte, it's going to be very, going to be very interesting to see how he lines them up. And you've got Leeds, Leicester, and then West Ham, Liverpool at 4:30. So not too bad. Not too bad. Let's have a look. Go back to the team. Cool. So we've got Aman. Good evening, Aman. Mr. Fresh Trim. How are you? I'm good, thank you. How are you? Gina's going to say score predictions. Ooh, score predictions. We will do that. We'll do that, definitely. I will get into some predictions for the scores once we have a few more people join us. But definitely we will do some predictions. Aman Khan, legit, man. That trim is fantastic. You suit it so much. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it, Aman. I really, really do. Thank you so much for your kind comments. He said, me also got really cold recently the last 2-3 days. Seriously. Harvey, good evening. Any good strikers to replace Antonio? Budget is 9 million. So again, there's a lot to look forward to here. You've obviously got Jimenez, who comes in around 7.5 mil. Huang got a return on the weekend. He's about, just over, probably around just under 2 mil cheaper. You got Wilson, like I've got Callum Wilson in my squad. Firmino, Jesus are above the 9 mil. So these are the good strikers that I believe are available. Yeah, no one really else really strikes out much to me. I'll be looking at those three personally if I was to look at any strikers to replace Antonio. But in terms of Antonio, Harvey, I do want to say one thing. I mean, I know he's got a tough fixture run coming in. He's got Liverpool, right, at game week 11. Then he's got Wolves and then Man City in game week 13. Now, I admit he has Chelsea and Arsenal in game weeks 15 and 17, but look at his fixture run from 14 to 23. So he's got Brighton. I've mentioned Chelsea being difficult. Burnley away. Arsenal. I've mentioned them being a bit difficult in terms of playing wise. Then Norwich, Southampton, Watford, Crystal Palace, Leeds before they play Manchester United in game week 23. So for me, I don't really think it's... Is it a bit too much of a knee-jerk for us to get rid of him? You have to look at his ownership as well, because the week he does well and you take him out of your squad is where it's really going to play a massive impact on the overall ranking. And if you look at it generally by the league numbers, right, he's due a hole. Yes, he got a goal against Tottenham, but generally, if you look from from game week 6 where he was suspended for the United game, right, when he's come back, he got a goal against Leeds and he's got a goal against Tottenham. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, right, he's got 2 goals. He is due a big one, I think. But in terms of getting rid of him now, I don't know what other options you're looking for. Is it to make funds for someone like a Son or Kane? That is something that obviously you need to address. But for me, I think, yes, there's Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea and Arsenal in the next, 4 out of 8 game weeks, of course. But if you look at the totality of 12 game weeks, that's just 4 difficult game weeks. And that's not to say he can't score. So let's not rule him out completely. I just think that for now, we just need to be a bit more patient. Because the best thing about Antonio at the moment is during midweek in Europe, he's being rested. So he's getting a good rest. So that kind of touch wood, I'm going to jinx him now, that kind of risk of, him being overworked or over workload or game management or risk of injury, hamstring, etc., is kind of being managed well. So for me, I'm personally going to keep him in for now. I will see how he features around that period. That's not to say I may not take him out. When Calvert-Lewin comes back, I may look at how he's performing and I may look to take him up. But for now, the next 11 game weeks, I'm expecting him to do some magic at some point. So that's the reason why I'm not looking to move away from him personally. Aman Khan says it might be unpopular, but I think we should be getting rid of Antonio. Again, it's personal preference, right? You might take him out this game week against Liverpool, and then he might go on a run again, which he did at the start of the season. I do believe that we should not be too hesitant right now just because of the fixtures. I think he can score against any opposition personally. Aman Khan says, I'm not saying he can't score, I'm just saying that there are strikers who would outscore him over the next 5. Of course, look. There is that tendency to believe that people can outscore him. That's for sure. But the way I see it, this season, in terms of striker-wise, it's not been that fruitful. So for example, Jamie Vardy's the only one that's pretty much been consistent up front throughout since the start of the season. I mean, Antonio had that brilliant start to the start of the season, but Jimenez started off slow. Callum Wilson's been injured. Hwang's got rotated and he's just here and there getting his returns. You've got someone like a Firmino who's been a hit and miss, injured. Got a hat trick. Again, Jesus inconsistent. So there's no one really. Kane, Lukaku, Ronaldo, they've not been someone who's week in, week out going absolutely crazy unless it's Vardy, in my opinion. So unless you've got the funds for those. But Antonio, again, should we trust in him? If you've had faith in him so long, is it right for us to move away? Again, that's just your opinion personally. I think there are strikers out there that we can look into. But personally, for me at the moment, just because of that fixture run from game week 17, I think it was, 18, sorry. Even 16, I'd say Arsenal away, it could be challenging. But I think, from 16 onwards, he's got some difficult games. We'll just have to wait and see. Unless Calvert-Lewin makes a comeback, I'm pretty much sticking to him at the moment. Harvey, to be honest, it's not his fixtures that worry me, it's his form which concerns me. True, I mean, he's not been that great. But you never know. It just takes one game for him to click back into gear. And it's the ownership which is a concern for me, Harvey, personally. He's just far highly owned. And the moment he goes big, and if you don't own him, that's definitely going to challenge the ranking, right? Tech Exia, who's not being rested, he started the game right now. Oh no, today I'm talking about. I mean, like last week he didn't feature in the Champions League. The Europa League the week before. So he's playing tonight, but he is being managed a lot more better than he has been. I mean, I think this is probably his first start in the Europa League in the last 2-3 games. So it's been good, well managed personally. John, good evening, Mo. Looking fresh with a trim. Thank you. I tried to grow it out, to be fair. I wanted some more volume around here, but I feel good. I feel a bit cold around here, though, when I go outside. Oh, God. I hope you are, though, John. Right, guys, if you guys haven't liked the video, please give us a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet to FPL INKLING, please take this moment to hit that subscribe button. Kieran Owen, can you build a free hit team for me, please? Free hit team, buddy. I mean, personally, Kieran, I don't think there's any need to do a free hit this game week. Personally, when I did my free hit and chips video on wildcard, free hit, captaincy, for triple captain, and bench boost, the video is available on my channel. You can see it's from a couple of, I'd say about a month ago, just before the season started. My recommendation is to hold your chips for double game weeks. So free hit for this week, there's not really that many fixtures that I'm looking at, Kieran, where I think, that's where I really want to target. So for me personally, if you can hold it off, that would be more than ideal for you in the long run, I assure you. Linesh, hi Mo. West Ham is playing almost the full strength team tonight. They are indeed. Look, I mean, they're playing at full strength tonight, but if we look at it for the last couple of games they played in the Europa League, Antonio hasn't featured in the starting 11, so it's fine. He's playing next on Sunday, so he's got 2 days, Friday, Saturday for a rest. He might even come off after 60-65 minutes, so I'm pretty cool with that. Again, we can look at it overall the next couple of game weeks, but for me, Antonio, unless you don't need to make any advancements or adjustments to your squad elsewhere, and you're looking for literally like a straight swap for him to another striker to bring in Kane or Son, then it makes much more of a sense. But if you're looking to completely get rid of him and you have no faith in him, then as I mentioned, there's strikers like Jimenez, Hwang, Callum Wilson, for example. You've got these strikers to look into. But thank you, Linesh, as well. You reminded me for tonight to the Q&A because I completely misread the fixtures. I thought, and I think on my phone, I scrolled up, and I think I took out the first fixture, and the first fixture that showed me a couple of nights ago was the Manchester derby. So thank you so much. We are less than 24 hours from the deadline, and we will be doing a live deadline stream tomorrow as well. Tech XEO, any plans to get Kane, Son or Reguilon with the Conte coming in? Spurs like to have a manager bounce. I mean, yeah, there can be a manager bounce, to be honest, there can be. But I don't have any plans for either of them at the moment. I don't, personally. Look, we can jump on the Spurs bandwagon and, we can think it can all change overnight. Of course it can. Definitely it can. There can be a player bounce off as well. But, again, you need to understand this has been a concern for a while. Obviously, Mourinho got sacked. It wasn't looking that great then either. There was a bit of an interim period, and then you've got this period of Nuno as well. So I don't know. I haven't prepared myself for the Spurs fixture change. Now that might sound silly, but personally, from what I've seen from Spurs in the last 11 weeks, do I see that changing literally in 2 weeks of him being a manager? It could do. Of course it could do. The oppositions they're playing, definitely. But again, I want to see it for at least a game week or two. If so, then definitely I can look and getting into Son or Kane for sure. Reguilon, I've gone there, been there, tried it, tested it. We'll have to wait and see. Defensively, they've looked very weak this season so far, and they've run the least amount from any team in the Premier League. Now, can Conte increase that overnight? It's going to be a challenge I'm going to be worth seeing. There's game week 11 now. I want to see at least 2 more game weeks. So game week 11's going to go 12, 13. So 3 more game weeks I want to see. I want to see the impact he has in 3 game weeks. Is it going in the upward trend, or is it stagnated, or is it still staying the same place, or is it nosediving even further? So we'll just have to wait and see. I don't want to make too many hasty decisions immediately. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that. But again, if they do hit the ground running, then why not? We could always make a case for bringing in one of the players. John K, everyone feels cold after a trim. Oh, tell me about it, honestly. Like, I remember I got the trim, I came out the barbers, and literally it was raining, and the wind blew, and I was like, oh God, that was cold. Kieran says, thanks, bro. No worries, Kieran. Honestly, hold on to that chip. It'll be worthwhile in the long run. Tech XO, West Ham are playing their nearly best team tonight because with a win today pretty much guarantees them first place in the group. If they get first place, they go straight into the knockout, 100%. And that's all they want, right? So they've managed him well. He hasn't been overplayed. So for me, Antonio, I'm pretty calm with, to be fair, him starting tonight. They changed the format for the Europa this season. Oh, nice. Good, there's so many games, honestly. Jesus, I used to get bored. But the way United are playing, they might be in the Europa League next season. Aman Khan, does this -8 sound okay? De Bruyne, Antonio, and Havertz to Son, Kane, and Tielemans. Thanks. De Bruyne, I've not been too much of a fan of this season. Now, no one doubts his ability as a player. I think he's one of the best players in the world. But over the last 18 months, includes the whole of last season, he hasn't replicated the numbers for FPL that he did like a couple of seasons ago. So for me, considering there's no guarantee he's on penalties, at 12 mil, that automatically takes him out of the contention for me. Because for me, like if I look at it from a price perspective or a comparison perspective, I'll go for Mane, better form. So I think that's the right thing you've done with De Bruyne, by the way. Even Fernandes I'd put over De Bruyne at the moment. Antonio and Havertz out for Son, Kane, and Tielemans. I mean, in terms of Tielemans, I really rate Tielemans, and I'm looking at him personally as well, maybe for Rafinha in the future. But in terms of fixtures-wise, Leeds, Chelsea's a difficult one, and then they've got some real nice, fruitful fixtures until Newcastle on Gameweek 16. So I think Tielemans not a bad shout either, but you have to be patient with him. It's a bit like Townsend for me. Last 3 games that I've had him, he's blanked. So you need to be a bit patient with him. So if you're looking to be patient and pick and forget and be okay to take a 2-point or a 3-point, consistent, accumulation, then that's a good shout. But I do believe -8, with the fixtures coming up for Spurs, again, it's a risk that you want to take. That's not something that I would personally go down. But if that's for a -8 and you're comfortable with it, I think that's not a bad shout whatsoever. Text here, Conte took Chelsea from 10th place from the previous year to winning the league the next year. Of course, but you have to look at the resources Chelsea had, the team Chelsea had. Chelsea, have spent much more on their team than Spurs have, and you need to understand the culture. Chelsea may have finished 10th the season before, but they had the mentality, their owner, Abramovich, they've installed that in every single manager / player, that they're there to win the league, they're there to win the big cups. Spurs, unfortunately, haven't won anything for 12 years. They brought in someone like Mourinho, who's an expert at winning trophies. He was the last manager to bring any trophy to Manchester United. There were 2 trophies in 1 year, which was the Europa League. I think it was a Community Shield as well in there. He brought 2 trophies to Manchester United, and he still got the sack. Right, and even Mourinho went to Spurs looking like he's going to win the league in December, and then it fell off, it nosedived, because they just don't have that culture or mentality from the board above to the players where they need to win something or they can win something. Someone really said a good word to me once. It was a bit like that, Spurs are like a posh version of Newcastle. But I think that's going to change very soon because, I think Spurs generally know how to play good. One thing that Spurs used to get away with under Poch was they played really exciting football, but they're a bit stagnated at the moment, and it's difficult to see where the spark comes from. So I think there's a lot of hype of, Conte's coming in, it's all going to be good. Players are just going to overnight become world beaters. They're going to win the Premier League. I think we've got to give them some time with that. Because good managers have gone into good places, but it doesn't generally mean that there's going to be good results straight away. But then what does that mean for the fans? If they turn it on immediately under Conte, were the players looking to get the manager the sack? How would the fans feel? That's their club they're playing for. They're taking wages week in, week out, and they're not giving 100%. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But if they do kick off and they fire, I am definitely bringing in Son and Kane. The best partnership last season by a country mile. Anis Mohammed, good evening. Why is 2 City defenders and a goalkeeper? Play White or Livra for Diaz? I mean, to be fair, Anis, I did a team selection video earlier today, and in there I made a statement that, look, I'm going to get a lot of eyebrows raised to me at the moment. If I play 2 Man City defenders or Edison and Diaz, or Cancelo, either way, if I'm going to be hoping, I'm a United fan, look, if they get a clean sheet, it's a win-win for me. If United win, it's a win-win for me. If I'm going to be banking on a clean sheet points for 2 defenders or a goalkeeper, why not just do it for all 3? They're the biggest part of my budget. Aston Villa against Southampton, I can see Aston Villa scoring, Watford at home, Ben White. Again, I can see Watford scoring as well. So the clean sheet part doesn't really come much into it. Cancelo is more of an attacking perspective. I think, he's got 2 assists midweek. Diaz, it's too much investment for me to bench him. So I'm just thinking, what, if I've got them in my squad, then why not? I took the risk last week and it didn't pay off, and the week before. Third time lucky, you just don't know. So that's the reason why I've done it, buddy. I'm taking a high risk, could be a high reward, or it could just completely go bust. So let's just wait and see. Donald, good evening. Big up, mate. First time here. I'm top 3K. Was wondering why you don't have any Chelsea defenders. Donald, if you watch some of my previous videos, you'll realise why. So I brought in Rudiger and Alonso in the same game week about 2-3 weeks ago. Rudiger decided to get injured in the international break. Had no clear idea when he's going to come back. And Alonso got rotated for Chilwell, and it wasn't to be seen again till now in the Premier League. So that's the reason why. But honestly, well done for being in the top 3K. You absolutely smashed it. And if you guys haven't subscribed to it yet, please hit the subscribe button to FPL INKLING. And please hit the like button if you haven't liked the video already. Linesh takes it here. They're losing at halftime 1-0. Hammers conceded their first goal in the Europa League campaign tonight. Not bad. Not bad conceding their first goal, but hopefully they can come back and secure that game. John K, what do you think of doing? A sideways move from like Rudiger to Chilwell or James? I mean, to be fair, out of all of them, the most nailed-on, uninjured player is Rudiger. James and Chilwell risk a rotation, but I'd rather go, my order of that would be Rudiger, James, Chilwell, if I'm looking for certainty of play out of those. I'm comfortable with it because it also allows me to shift fund structure. I now have a premium at striker to get Ronaldo to game week 16. Yeah, game week 16, Ronaldo's going to be a good shout. Definitely. Takes it at Linesh. They were so close for equalising just before half time. Whew. John Kembo, you're not going to get any Brentford attackers. No, I don't know. Honestly, I've looked at Mbembo. If I had to put a bet on him hitting the post, I think I'd win a few returns. He's the most... Well, how can I put this correctly? He's a player with the most shots that have hit, the post or the crossbar this season. So very infuriating for having him in my squad. But tempting at the price though, 5.6 mils, not bad. Ivan Toney, again, who would I want to get rid of for him at the moment? Antonio, I'd rather have Antonio in my squad at the moment. They haven't done anything really to catch my eye. If I was going to look to get any of these strikers out, probably Antonio, I'd look at Jimenez or even Hwang. That may be temptation for me, but Brentford at the moment, it's just not caught me straight so far. Luca, good evening. Edouard over Zaha. In my opinion, I have Edouard. Again, it's personally all your choice, to be fair, Luca. I like Zaha. I think he's kind of like one of the main sources of goals. Edouard, I rate him as a striker. I've seen him in the Scottish League. I've seen him play before, and he played really well in his debut. Scored in like 2 goals, like a first goal in like 25 seconds or something ridiculous. And he's a good striker. But Zaha, for me, adds a lot of value. I think, he's kind of like mainly linked up in their play. He played up front last week as well as a lone striker. He can also, be on penalties as well. So if there are any penalties. So that's why I've kind of got Zaha in there. And it gives me a good differential as well. So, in terms of ownership, I think it's about 7%, 6.3% ownership at the moment. So that is what we're looking at in terms of Wilfried Zaha. So again, there's a lot of risk with my squad here. I have spread it across, so fingers crossed it can pay off. But we'll just have to wait and see, guys, to see how it goes this week. Could I be looking at Son? Could I be looking at Kane? That is something that we can indeed look at. So if I do, going down... I mean, let's say I got rid of Antonio. And let's say I brought in Hwang. That gives me 2.5 mil. And then Vardy, I could go to Harry Kane. That still gives me 1 mil. And then I could do Wilson to Calvert-Lewin when he comes back. So that could literally just change like that. So you can have Calvert-Lewin, Hwang, Kane up front. That could be something that I could consider over the next couple of game weeks. Fixtures-wise, you've got Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich. And then I could obviously move away from Kane to Ronaldo. Again, that's something that I can look at as well. But for me at the moment, I want to stay away from the whole Harry Kane, Son at the moment. The fixtures do look great. They certainly do. But they looked great for Lukaku as well. But they didn't turn out as fruitful as we've been planning all that time. Jimenez has been so consistent. 5 returns in the last 5 games with him only playing 2 minutes in one of them. Honestly, Jimenez has been ridiculous. Ever since he got his first goal, he's got his confidence back. And it looks really nice to see him doing so well. Aman Khan says Tottenham are playing 3-4-3 tonight. Son, Kane and Moura. Whew. Now that is what you call a strike force. They could also go 3-5-2 with Lucas as a 10. Could do. So guys, we will be doing a live deadline stream tomorrow before the 6:30 deadline. So please do tune in and get your teams ready. So I'll be keeping an eye out for the press conferences during the day tomorrow, and we'll be able to see where it's going from there. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of options for me to look at from here. You know, in terms of Rafinha, I could look to go Tielemans if I want to as well, and Bembo, but I don't really want to get rid of Rafinha at the moment. Kane-wise, I'm still a bit sceptical. I want to see a bit more from Kane. He's just not been in it. He's just not been with it for Spurs since that whole transfer saga. John says Kane needs to do something. He's been outperformed by cheaper strikers. Hopefully my patience with him pays off. Again, it's not like a light switch. You can't just turn it on overnight, John. It needs a couple of games for him to really drive it in. You know, if he gets a goal, you know, in 2 games in a row, it'll really add to his confidence. Even if he doesn't get a goal, you know, he could get the assists that he was getting last season. So we just have to be patient with him. Now, do I have the ability to be patient with him at the moment? Probably not. I'll tell you what, it's because of the way I've gone about my season so far. Around the 2.9 mil mark at the moment, you know, I'm thinking, you know, by Christmas, I want to hit the top mil mark. So we've got another 8-9 weeks, potentially game weeks I'm talking about, for that to be achieved. But we'll just have to wait and see. You know, can Conte, you know, as you said, John, can Conte get it out of Spurs? Can they really come in and hit the ground running? It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not even always about the new manager, which is the hype. Sorry, drop my lid. It's not always about the new manager. That was always the hype. It's about the team culture as well. And Tottenham have been nosediving since Mourinho, so we'll just have to wait and see what comes out of them over the next couple of weeks. Assad, good evening. Start Cancelo or Duffy? I mean, Brighton are playing Newcastle. They've not done too bad. Duffy's not a bad shout, but I'm going Cancelo, buddy. So either of them are fine. If you had to ask me, I'd go Cancelo because he's been in good form and he got 2 returns a couple of nights ago in the Champions League. Right, guys, if you guys haven't liked the video, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed to FPL INKLING as of yet, please do hit that subscribe button. But you know what? More than Kane, I don't know if it's just me. Let me know through the comments, guys. I'm more tempted by Son. Because Son is just incredible. Like every manager that's taken over in terms of Spurs over the last couple of seasons, so even under Mourinho, Pochettino, and now you've got Conte that's come in, and even Nuno as well. He's the one that's been the most consistent in terms of getting a return. So I don't know. Are we overlooking Son for Kane? That's the question I would ask. I mean, if I was to fit Son into my team, I need around 3.5 mil. Oh, that's going to be tough. Where do I find the 3.5 mil? Again, it all depends on how you want to play the team. But Son would be someone that I would definitely be looking towards. King Harry's channel, good evening. You just got here. Troller guy, by the way. I know, Troller guy. How are you? How are you? Good evening. I hope you're well. Asad Ali says, yeah, I brought Son this game week. Nice. Son's a good shout. You know, I think he's being overlooked because of Kane, because he's on penalties. But Son is just ridiculous, honestly. And when he gets on fire, there's no one stopping the dude. Well, for me this week, game week, as you guys, if you guys have seen it already or not, in my team selection video, which I released earlier. So if you guys haven't seen it, please go ahead and have a look, and I'll tell you more about my future plans in there as well. But I brought in Ben White this game week for Hoover. So as I said, I'm slowly, as Livramento came in, Ben White has come in. I'm actually strengthening my bench. And Gilmore next week hopefully is going to be strengthened to someone like Douglas Luiz, not David Luiz, he's no longer there. Douglas Luiz, or like a Brownhill, or Bissouma in the midfield, where I'm going to have another 4.5 who's regularly playing, maybe even Allen from Everton. And then that sorts my bench out, because then I'll be comfortable having 15 players week in, week out, because that's what's cost me previously on the 2 international breaks, is when my players come back, Rafinha, Rudiger, sorry, all these players that I had at that point, they're not fit or they're not available due to COVID regulations. After that, I've got 11 players on the outfield, 4 on the bench, which I know for a fact can come on and play for my team. And West Ham have equalised, guys. It's 1-1. Ben Rama gets the goal. Are we ever looking at Ben Rama, guys, by the way? Because the guy scored on the weekend as well, right? The West Ham game. So Ben Rama's doing pretty well, to be fair, this season. John K, if you had a wild card, who would you bring in? Son is looking much better currently. I'm just hoping Kane can catch... And plus makes CR7 switch easier. Yeah, so the CSR7 switch looks easier with Kane to CR7. But the thing about CR7 to Kane is you still got to make up $500,000. So maybe why don't you think of the 2 transfers, hold those 2 transfers for that CR7 switch, which will make it easier. But I love Son, man. Personally, at the moment, based on form, I'd go Son. Hands down. Teza T249, good evening. What do you think of Brentford assets? I like Brentford. I generally do. Defensively, they've got that defender. What's his name? Let's have a look. They got that defender that I really like. Attacking wise, they're all right. They got Mbembo. They've got Tony. But again, for me, they've not done that much to warrant me having them in my squad. So there's Jansen or. So Jansen, who's got 42 points so far this season, done really well. And I really like Rico Henry. That's the name I was looking for. Rico Henry looks someone who I'm really inspired by. But otherwise, you've got Mbembo or Tony. I'm not really too fussed by Brentford at the moment. I think there's better players out there for similar prices. But then that's just my opinion, buddy. But again, they can get onto a good run, and then I could definitely look into them as well, because they've got some really good fixtures over the next couple of game weeks. King Harry's channel. I have put Son in and Hwang for a -4. Took out Townsend and Ronaldo, and I have 2.5 million in my bank, and my team is Sanchez, Rudiger, Christensen, Cancelo. Nice, because you've got a nice balance there. You got Rudiger and Christensen from Chelsea, Trent as well, and Cancelo, Salah, Son, Rafinha, Hwang, Cancelo, Foden, Gray on bench with Marcel. Nice. I like the squad there. King Harry, love it. Aman Khan, maybe the double up is back on Son plus Kane. It could be Aman, it could be, but the thing is, are you ready to take that risk so early? Personally, I'd give it a game or 2 just to see how it's all working out, and then take it from there, okay? But it could be on. It could be back. King Harry's channel. When I see your stream, I just rush to get on. How long have you been streaming for? I don't know how long I've been on here for. About half hour, probably. 35 minutes, yeah. 35 minutes. Flew by. Didn't realise. West Ham just equalised. Nice. John, have I compared since taking it from a -16 I took? Actually, I haven't, You know what? Tonight, my homework for tomorrow's live stream is I'm going to compare the teams that I took that -16 for. Let's see what the difference was, okay? Surely nah. I think it's not going to be that bad. I don't think it'll be that bad. As today, thoughts on Reece James to Reguilon next week? The thing about Spurs is, right, I don't really have an issue much with them winning games. Clean sheets is a bit of an issue. Now, if Conte gets out of them, they've got one of the world's best goalkeepers, Lloris. I'm not saying he's the best goalkeeper. I'm saying he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, guys. Before everyone starts bashing me or trolling me. I think Reguilon's not a bad shout. He plays, wing back, likes to whip a ball in. But defensively, again, you've got Eric Dyer in defence. Nothing to say that's bad about Eric Dyer, but Reguilon's it's a tricky one. I'd rather go Lloris, personally, if you got the funds. Reece James, I'd keep Reece James personally out of them. I said that's just my opinion. I think Reece James adds so much value in terms of like free kicks and generally on set pieces. He's a lot more potent for getting you a return. King Harry's, I meant Wilson instead of second Wilson. Oh, now Wilson's fine. I think it's a really second cancel. Yeah, no, I think it's a great squad, buddy. Tech X here. Antonio subbed off at 58 minutes. Hallelujah! Nice, love it. At least he's getting rested for the Liverpool game, right? Hopefully he wasn't injured. Right, guys, if you guys haven't liked the video, please give us a like. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button to FPL Inkling and join the family. Luxury Lifestyle, good evening. Mo, would you do Townsend to Smith Rowe for a -4? I already have Mbemba, Rafinha, Salah, Saka. Nah. I wouldn't take a -4 for that, buddy. Don't do a -4 for that. If you're doing that for a not a hit, then I'd say yes. But do you see Smith Rowe outscoring Townsend with 4 points or more this game week? He could do, but I'd say just leave it. Do it for a free transfer. That would be a lot better. King Harry's channel, what should I do with 2.5 million spare? It depends where your team needs boosting. I personally would say, where do you feel you want to boost to those 2.5 million from your squad? Because after I read your squad personally, I'm having a look at your squad. It's really well done. I mean, you can actually boost up. Well, Hwang's in good form, I was going to say Hwang to Jimenez might be a shout. 2.5 mil. Maybe Rafinha to Havertz. Yeah, so you've got quite a few options, but for now, if you don't need to use it, I'd personally keep it personally. John K, is he injured? Text because Conte has a bit of a habit of turning fullbacks into insane goal-scoring wing-backs like Moses and Alonso in 2016 season. He does indeed, honestly. He does indeed. It's going to be worth watching out. I'm still intrigued to see how he does. Really am. Asad Ali, Chelsea's fixtures get tough, plus rotation risk. Azpilicueta. Yeah, Azpilicueta is the one, honestly. Last 2 matches benched, right? Takes a John Kane, no, likely just to be rested for the weekend. Malik, good evening. Chelsea defenders, I left them a while ago. They're getting difficult fixtures now, so if you are looking for someone, Reece James is top of the list, along with Rudiger, the top two I'll be looking at. King Harry's Wilson in it instead of second Cancelo. Yeah, that would be good. Fiatro, good evening. Kane captain. Yeah, you could go for a Kane captaincy this week. I wouldn't see too much of an issue with that. It's a risk, but if he pays off, he hasn't got that much of a high ownership at the moment. It'd be a good shout. Definitely agree with it. Look, Shasta, do you back Cancelo and Diaz to keep clean sheets against United? Of course. I mean, Aston Villa, no disrespect, kept a clean sheet against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Liverpool kept a clean sheet against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Manchester United in the last 2 seasons at Old Trafford have been abysmal. So for me, at Manchester United, I feel more confident of City keeping a clean sheet there than at the Etihad, because United are much better on the road, right? That's just my opinion. I'm a United fan, right? So for me, it's a win-win situation. That's why I'm going for this combination. Oh, there's some heavy rain out there. King Harris, it's hard for me to decide. I can imagine. Luxury also, Mo Jimenez has been great in 5 returns in the last 4 games, 3 goals, 2 assists. He has done indeed, honestly. It's mad. King Harris, Cancelo did so well in the Champions League. Why can't he do that in the Prem? I need my points. We all do. We all do. And he says, I feel like Salah might not score. Well, it's about time he blanks, but whilst he's in good hot form, why not? He's the main source of goal for Liverpool, and he's on penalties as well. King Harry says he might have to captain Son, but it's just too risky. I mean, it is risky at the end of the day. There's no reward for no risk. That's why I've gone 3 City defenders. Right, guys, I want to call it a night now. We've done a good 45 minutes nearly of streaming. The Q&A is, we're going to call it a day. So we'll go through some predictions as I was requested, or score predictions. And then we'll do the end of today. Southampton, Aston Villa. Oh, I'd say 1-1. United, Man City. I think City might take it 2-0. I think they'll take it 2-0. I think United have been far too open, and I don't think City's going to give him a sniff personally. If City turn up like what I've seen him in the last couple of game weeks, I can't see even United getting a sniff. Yes, they've got the talent, but even in midweek Champions League, they got put to the sword. And it's just constant. It's too constant. I just don't see United scoring, and I hope United win. I hope they win 2-0, 3-0, 5-0, 6-1. I hope United win. But if I'm going to be honest with myself, I can see a City 2-0 victory. Brentford Norwich, I see Brentford winning 2-0. Chelsea Burnley, I see Chelsea winning about 3-0. Palace Wolves, I can see it being 2-2. Brighton versus Newcastle, that's a good game. 2-1 Brighton. Arsenal Watford, Ranieri dilly ding dilly dong versus Arsenal, who's on a high. I think Arsenal might edge it 2-1. Everton Spurs. Oh, Everton have been shocking last couple of games. They're at home, so I'll probably say 1-1 against Spurs. Leeds, Leicester. I see Leicester winning 3-0, 3-1. West Ham, Liverpool. I think this will be close. I reckon 2-1, 2-2. 2-1 to Liverpool or 2-2. I reckon it'll be a good game. So that is my prediction. And obviously I've mentioned United have injuries as well. Varane's out. There's a lot of other things to consider as well. Asad says Cristiano will ruin your weekend. I hope he does. I'm a United fan. If he ruins my weekend from that respect, I'd rather ruin my FPL and United win. Hands down. Luxshire, so I got 108 points yesterday in my fantasy team, and I'm in the top 500. Nice technical United without Varane as well, 100%. So that's it, guys. That's today's live Q&A done. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for commenting and participating. Tomorrow we'll be here with a live deadline stream, potentially around 5:30 in the evening. So stay tuned. In addition, if you guys haven't liked the video, please give us a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe before you leave.